think that one is balafiring krasi, if you understand any Mandinka. And it's, yes, it's balafiring krasi, and what I'm telling you is not theory. I want to ask somebody who is a bit conversant with these traffic issues, why did we have so many accidents in the past 1 year? He said drivers said they'll not leave the road for ambulances because it's democracy. They would not abide by the traffic laws because it's democracy. My friend, that's not democracy. That's kulubaliacracy. And it's unacceptable in any civilized society. It's unacceptable. There is no society that has thrived and progressed without the rule of law. So we have to respect and maintain the rule of law. I'm not betraying you. I'm for the rule of law, but that will come towards the end because it's the most important. Are we agreed? So we say the rule of love. And I agree with you, rule of love. But even love has laws, right? So let's talk about laws before you finalize on law. My question is the rule of law an end in itself? Sometimes you talk about democracy and human rights as if democracy is something you eat, democracy pays your school fees, democracy will fill your tummy. Is that the case also? These things are not an end in itself. They are a prerequisite, we assume, for those who believe in that school of thought, so that people can be free to go about and do their business and provide for themselves, become self-fulfilled individuals, communities, and the nation at large. So we need those things to guide us, to control us, to manage us so that we can operate as a civilized society. But we are not doing democracy for the sake of democracy. And that's why recently when I heard a government official telling young people, yeah, we've done everything we can, we brought democracy and human rights. Just the first step, the government has to deliver and meet the expectation of the people who voted for them. This is my definition of democracy. But then the rule of law, again, is not an end in itself. Why? Because, I was top Bible student here, BK, I got a 1. I don't know whether they know what 1 means back then. I was at Form 5. Jesus Christ, may Allah bless his soul, he told his disciples that man was not made for the laws was made for man. Now, did you hear that? Sometimes we follow these laws as if we are slaves and beasts. And that's why Jesus Christ was persecuted by the Pharisees and the scribes and the Sadducees, because he came to change the law. But they said no, because they think the law is God. The law is not God. God brought the law. He brought the law to serve us, not to enslave us. So that's why I agree with you that it should be the rule of love. Yes. What did Jesus Christ bring us? Love. What did Muhammad come to teach us? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Love. Kul in kuntum tuhibbuna Allah fattabi'uni yuhibbukumullah. Said, if you say you love Allah, then follow me. Allah will love you. So this is all about love. And that's why I agree with you. The organizers are wrong. It's democracy and the rule of love. We used to have the best choir here at St. Peter's. I said that at St. Joseph's and they were booing me. But I stay, no. Now we used to have a great choir. We even have a band. In fact, I was going to propose to the Catholic Mission that the St. Peter's band, that composed of Father Carmen, Father Moses, and others, they should play a special song for our new bishop to celebrate him. I'm making that proposal also. Mr. Principal, I hope you have a scribe to take notes, because I'm going to follow these things up. Yes. Now, choir used to sing right here, beautiful tones. Let there be love shared among us. Let there be peace in our hearts. Give us a fresh understanding of brotherly love that is true. Let there be love shared among us. Do we have any choir members here? But that is it, and it's important. This whole thing is supposed to be about love. So that at the end of the day, in spite of democracy and the rule of law and everything, love is supposed to abide, supposed to guide and rule us and soften us towards peaceful coexistence. Mutual love, understanding, and trust cannot happen without love. So even the law itself should come down and take second place to what? Love. So that even if you come and slap me here, hopefully you will run, because if you stay, I'll slap you. But if you slap and run away, and I found out that you took a little bit of cannabis before you came here, hopefully you didn't do that, I can forgive because of what? The rule of love. You know, nothing ever captured this thing better for me. This business of whether the law itself is an end in itself, or whether there should be lawlessness or the rule of law love. The prophet Amos in the Bible told us, let righteousness roll down like the waters. I like my biblical quotes. I want to read it so that I get it exactly. How many of you know about Prophet Amos? Wow, you have a few religious ones. Prophet Amos said this. He said, let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like an overflowing stream. Now, did you hear that? That is the rule of love. My brothers and sisters, are you still listening to me? Or are you on Facebook? We have to be honest and realistic as Gambians, as citizens of this beautiful country. We must know that no society can thrive without order, justice, and peace. Thank you very much. Clap for yourself. That's the best motto anything ever had. You know, the whole world wants to go to America. A lot of these Arabs, our Muslim brothers, they bring their money here, right? No, they don't bring it here. They bring the change here and give you a mosque that only few people will pray in. They take their money to America to keep it there. China keeps our money in America. Why? Because there is a rule of law in America. Contracts are enforced. So if we want to grow and get investors and get the trust of the rest of the world, we must ensure that our laws are respected. And we must ensure that we respect our law enforcement officials, because that is fundamental. Ay Gambians ñoo dëgër fit boy suñ pa koy boy fii ngay gis police mu la arrest ngay xeex ak moom soo ko defee America doo ko nettali for the rest of your life. Fii ngay gis police mu la arrest, you are holding a stick, like what happened in Busumbala. I'm not blaming any party, and I blame our law enforcement officials for that. They should have arrested 1,000 people and go and dump them here, because they will not fit in mile 2. No, I'm serious. No, I'm serious. In America, a police officer finds you with a stick, a knife in public. They will not only arrest you, they will handcuff you. Who are we, Gambians? And those are the people we worship. We worship democracy as if it's God. In fact, democracy is more important than God for some people here. When they talk about secularity of the state and try to take the religion out of our constitution, I'm calling all of you to make sure that our constitution says that Gambia is a religious country of Muslims and Christians and other faiths. No faith should oppress another faith, but nobody should impose secular fundamentalism on us. We are Muslims and Christians, aren't we? Yeah. Are we a secular people? No. We are from God, and unto God we go. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. It's not only supposed to be said when people die. It's an affirmation of the fact that from God we come and to God we go. Who built this school? A secular ministry? This is built by the Catholic Church and thousands of other schools and other good deeds. You want to insult all of those people to tell them your government has nothing to do with religion. They are telling me my time is up and my speech has not started. Is that democracy? No. How many of you want me to speak on? How many of you want me to stop? Okay, the ayes have it. We are going. This is democracy. Thank you very much. Clap for yourselves. Thank you very much. You have a very just principle. Clap for him. This man who invited me is a dictator. In fact, he's very close to Yaya Jammeh. I can tell you that for free. It's true. But is that a crime? I try to stick on my script so that I don't abuse the minorities' rights also. And this is democracy. Practical example here. Democracy is not supposed to be the tyranny of the majority. And we saw a little bit signs of that in New Gambia. You have every right to be doi. You have every right to have a rally. You have every right to have a tour. And the point is, you guys should be speaking for this. To say that regardless of what party I belong to, I respect the rights of other people to express their political views and sentiments. Is that complicated? Can't we share some love? It's the rule of love. Can you change your topic, please, for the record? But democracy and the rule of law, I want to say, cannot also be left to only those at the top. And sometimes we make that mistake. We voted them in power. They have the right to do what they want to do. Democracy has in itself checks and balances. That's why we have the legislature, the judiciary, and the... I call them the oppressors, and I was one of them before, so please forgive me. Yes, I was. A government is put in power and they swear an oath of office to defend and protect the Constitution, right? But does it always happen that way? Recently, we amended our Constitution for one person to make sure she gets a job. Is that democracy? No. Is that the rule of law? No. Is that the rule of love? No. Thank you very much. So what do we do when we say it's democracy and we have a constitution and we see our leaders infringing our rights as citizens? What do we do? What do we do? We go and burn tires in the streets? No. What do we do? Voice it out. Voice it out. One of the ways you can apply pressure on your government to make sure that you protect and preserve your sacred democracy is to use the media. Raise public awareness. You can also do peaceful protests. What did I say? Did I say protest with knives and busumbala? No. You can protest peacefully. Let's not make these things complicated. Let's not make their lives difficult, because anytime you are on protest, you know these people are on standby. Their wives and children don't see them for weeks. Is that fair to them? No. We can do peaceful protests. And what else can we do if the government is infringing our rights and changing the constitution in a very corrupt way? What do we do? Voice it out. I said that already. You can take your case to the courts. You can sue the government, you know. Do you know that? Don't try it during Yahya Jammeh's time. But now you can. When Dr. Ismail Assise was arrested, the Civil Rights Society Association, they said they are going to sue the government. I thought it was very silly to think of that, but it's a good signal to the government that you cannot hold us at ransom. So you can do that, and ultimately you can do what also? If the government is infringing your democracy, is trying to negate the rule of law, what's your ultimate? Strike. Boy, one hand strike, more peaceful demonstration, boy. Sit down, strike. You will still do this exam, my sister, don't worry. You can go to the elections and vote them out. And I think that's the best solution ultimately. Because Yahya Jammeh manipulated our constitution here, did a lot of things. We say Yahya Jammeh is bad, is out. The first thing we do is amend a whole constitution for one person. What a shame. You can quote me anywhere, I said it. But we have rights, we have freedoms, we also have responsibilities. Now, did you hear that? We have responsibilities, and we must never ever abdicate our responsibilities. And a lot of the people, they think their democracy is just talking, just criticize, just saga. And please don't insult each other. Don't insult our leaders. And that includes Adama Barrow and Yahya Jammeh and Jawara. Don't insult them. You can criticize them, you have every right to, and anybody who stops you from that, you can tell the person, you know, metaphorically, go to hell. Don't say it in words, please. It's a bad word. I didn't even say it. I'm just giving you an example. Clap for me. I'm very polite. Now, I don't want to run the risk of going out of this place and your management will never invite me here, so I'm going to close just because of that. I want to come back. I love you guys. Don't you love me? Yeah. This is the rule of love. The New York Times is my favorite newspaper. I read the New York Times, and these things are available online. I advise you, want to learn English properly. So I read the New York Times, Washington Post. A lot of these international journals and newspapers are now free online. Go there and read. Facebook boy, yena grammar. Queen B boy, then call it saga. I'm serious. You know it, right? Let's try to learn the rules of language. My brother, these things are important. Anyway, I'm going to conclude just by reading this paragraph about democracy and freedom that my favorite columnist at the New York Times, David Brooks, wrote about recently. David Brooks was writing about J.S. Mills. How many of you know about J.S. Mills? J.S. Mills is an economist, and I'm an economist by day. I'm an economist by training, trust me. I'm not a politician, right or wrong. I'm an economist by training, I'm telling you. You better trust me. Okay, thank you. He said, about J.S. Mills, who was an economist but cared so much about democracy, he said this. He said, Mills' examples cures us from the weakness of our age. And what is the weakness of our age? The belief that we can achieve democracy on the cheap, the belief that all we have to do to fulfill our democratic duties is to be nice, to vote occasionally, and have opinions. Mills shows us that real citizenship is a life-transforming vocation. It involves, at base, cultivating the ability to discern good from evil, developing intellectual virtues required to separate the rigorous from the sloppy, living an adventurous life so that you are rooting yourself among and serving those who are completely unlike yourself. The demands of democracy are clear. The elevation and transformation of yourself. If you are not transformed, you are just skating by. Democracy, ultimately, I am saying, it is about you recognizing your rights as well as your responsibilities. Your responsibilities to train yourself, to go to school, to be serious, to refrain from lawlessness by abusing drugs and cannabis is a drug. No matter what anybody is, they call it sirifutaba, it's all nonsense, it's a drug. It's bad for you, I'm telling you. Democracy is about avoiding those things so that you can develop as a wholesome human being through education, understanding, and love. Democracy is about building yourself to become a self-actualized individual who can serve himself, his family, his community, and ultimately the nation that we share in common, the Gambia, the most beautiful country in the world. Your democracy is not about talking and complaining and voting and making noise and chaos. It's about building yourself. You know that in certain dispensations, you are not free to go to the school you choose. You are not free to choose even the subject you study. You are not even free to travel out of your country to go and study and develop yourself. So if you have that democracy now, you can study. You can build yourself. Broaden your horizons because you are free to do so. Like he said here, your education is not meant to be the four walls of the classroom. If I confine myself to the four walls of the classroom, I would never be able to say half of what I said here. And I'm sure I gave a great speech. I'll not even wait for you to say thank you. Yes, that's also democracy, to be able to say what you say even though they don't like it. But I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, democracy is about being you, building yourself to share and to care and to observe the rule of love. One of my favorite poets, the legendary Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, once said this, and that will be my final statement. Before you clap, I'll be on my chair. He said, let us then be up and doing with a heart for any faith, still achieving, still pursuing. May God guide, God bless, and protect the Gambia so that we all continue to live in democracy and the rule of love in order, justice, and peace. Thank you very much.